As was the case in the early 90s, and still is the case today actually, video game companies tried to cash in by making video games based off of movies that were coming out at the time. But this game I'm looking at today is actually a bit of a puzzler. The game is called Fantasia and was released on the Sega Genesis in 1991. Why is this game a puzzler then? Well, for one, the film Fantasia actually came out in the year 1940, 51 years before this game came out in 1991. What is even more disappointing is that Fantasia isn't really even a good game. How can you make a game based off of Fantasia anyway? It's a musical and doesn't really lend itself to being made into a video game in any form. I mean, this would be like if they tried to make a video game based off of the movie Wayne's World. Oh wait, they actually did that. But let's face the facts, this game was actually made, and based off the sheer lack of information that I could find about this game, it must have slipped under the gaming population's radar for the most part. Well, I guess that's a pretty good thing. If you haven't noticed already, this game is based off of primarily one part of the whole Fantasia film, The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Wait then, why didn't they just call this game The Sorcerer's Apprentice? Are you honestly telling me there was a particular reason to title it Fantasia? Maybe Disney was gonna, I don't know, in another 20 years make a flop movie called The Sorcerer's Apprentice and make a video game based off of that. But I digress. Let's get to what actually makes this game so bad. Number one, the controls. This game has such awful control that it practically hurts your hands as you're playing it. It really does. For one thing, you have to press the down button when you land on enemies to kill them. And sometimes when you're holding the down button, the enemies will still hurt you. You'll bounce all around, hit other enemies. It's crap. They're pretty stiff too. This part of the game is pretty infuriating in and of itself. But then it leads me to number two, the music. The music in this game will have your ears bleeding. Oddly enough, the music is what made the original film so magical. It just pierces through the solitary environments of the game. It may even make your ears bleed, like I said before. Not really, but in my opinion, the 16-bit recreations of these classic compositions is half-assed and awful. Number 3. This game's story makes no sense. In the film, the different musical compositions take place in every universe in different time frames. They are out of order, too, I might add. Number 4. The enemies are ridiculous. From burning heads to walking broomsticks to witches, the enemies in this game are almost a satire of the film itself, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense at all. The last and final problem with this game is the ending. When you finish the game, you get to shake hands with Leopold Stokowski. That too is a pretty piss-poor way to end the game. So what do you get when you play Fantasia? An overwhelmingly hard video game with no cohesiveness, no story, poor controls, goofy enemies, and really no way to cheat. That's right, there are no cheat codes or codes or anything to get you to higher levels in this game. Thanks for watching Game Reviews by James. Check back later for more reviews.